Yeah, I bet the title got you, didn't it? Because I immediately let you know what this conversation was going to really be about soon as I started and opened the video. Now, the discussing money is tacky. We'll go into that first, and we'll go into the other half second. The reason you have whole generations of kids out here who are growing into young adults and think they can run up credit cards, then think they can desperately jump on crypto bandwagons without learning and understanding, and think they can get into get rich quick schemes, is because that K to 12 lack of knowledge on money pipeline does not prepare your children for the real world and money. And let me start by saying I don't blame the school system as much as I blame the parents. Because if you run an efficient home, regardless if you're a single parent or two parent home, your kid would leave home with some understanding of finance and what that means. Okay, not some person with an econ degree that think they know everything. And look, if you got a degree in economics, hats off to you, because my thing is that's not math I can stand. So I have the highest respect for you. But understand, what you were taught in a classroom can't fully and ever fully prepare you for the real world. This is why I don't really condemn the K through 12 too much. While we are a capitalist nation that love to spend, we at the same time have pushed this narrative that with our kids, discussing money is tacky. Now, if you're like me and you're from the hood, the reason your parents were telling you something like that is because they knew money was scarce, and when you needed certain things and got upset, they can do the I'm the adult and you're the child. They felt no need to sit there and show you economics. Now, there are a few parents from the hood who have taught their children this. So if you're listening and you know you're the exception to that rule, don't come at me. Because I really don't have time for the bipolarness of how some of y'all act on these social media websites and on this internet. There's life on the internet and life off the internet. I get it. You need to spend money to have economies keep going. But when you first open a bank account for your kid, people are doing this or keeping piggy banks. And while you're doing that, you're saying this is a cute little way to save money, and having your first ever account, it's a step. How many of you actually sit that kid down or those kids down and say, this is how much dividend you can get off an account in time if you don't touch it? Have you discussed with them what is a money market? I'm not familiar with these things. I am not a financial expert, so let me go on and say that what I'm saying is that you have to rein in this ideal that talking about finance is tacky. Okay? We all grew up on that saying, and because we grew up on that phrase and no one wanted to talk about money, and money, it was this dirty little thing that we spend all the time and have all the time or lack all of the time, that lack of conversation has come back to hurt the last few generations. When you don't sit them down, teach them simple math, teach them how to budget. There are some YouTubers that are great at this, and I'll let you do your research and decide. So I'm going to leave you with this question before I move to the second part of this. Okay? Why is it that we've decided that money is a tacky thing to talk about? Please put in the comments why you think our culture did that. Which leads me to segue to the second half of what I said about spending. While we sit here and say money's tacky, we as Americans love our big, gigantic malls. And yes, malls are closing, but just as quickly other shopping centers are opening. We are a nation of spenders. So why is it tacky to talk about money, but it's not tacky to spend it? Because you really got these young people moving out here thinking that they can just spend frivolously, and now that we've had a recession, assuming that it's ended by the time of this recording is played, because I recorded it on June 12th, 2024. Okay, so I got way ahead on my content. Does anyone else see this hypocrisy, how we can sit and say the discussion of money is tacky, but it's not too tacky for us to be out here buying stuff we have no business? Because I'm still cleaning out old food because I had so much access and a lot of it was not expired, so I gave it away. Other things I let expire because we so like to spend. And I'll admit I was one of those people couldn't control myself. See, I believe that this spending correlates not just with poverty, but with the fact that when your kids were young enough and still up under your roof. Sorry, I said old enough. You just felt that talking about money was dirty and you didn't want to have that conversation. So when they can't manage their money and they want to move back in your house, you got a bewildered face. Oh, you're grown. Now, let me say, if you're an adult and you're spending money and your closet is filled with designer clothes and yet your apartment rent isn't paid and food is not in your cupboards or refrigerator, that's all you. But your lack of financial literacy most of the time stems from your home life, because we made this conversation tacky. Look, I'm not here to tell you when to have the conversation or how to have the conversation about money with your kids. But when they get to an age of knowing and understanding, like credit scores and things like that, it's time to have that conversation. This is one of those boring parental conversations where your kid's going to be, why we got to do this right now? But they'll immediately see the benefit in it as they get older, because at least someone warned them. This is especially true of useless college degrees, and there's such a thing, so if that hurts you, you can get up off of here now. Where you assume that 100K responsibility for a degree that's not going to turn into a tangible job is going to do something for you without realization that interest starts to build, and it's the interest that's itself that something you signed up for when you're 20 can take you 30 years to pay. That's a mortgage. You're getting no benefit out of paying those loans back, but you can get a benefit out of having a home and adding value to it. Why? Because while we don't want to talk about money, we sure love to spend it and live for the moment. I've been one of those people, and had I thought about this, I could already be a multimillionaire. But I didn't have the financial literacy, and because I struggle with math, I didn't want the wherewithal to learn it. And now, by the time you get this recording, 45 years old, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, I'm now learning that I wasted a lot of time. My advice to you all is to study people who have made money the legitimate way. Like I was reading Eddie Brown's book. I don't know when that video is going to post because I'm going to give an opinion up on that book. I got really sick July of 2024. So I was going to bed early and I opted to read the Holy Bible and push that to the side to put myself to sleep. Find someone who cared enough about money and find out how they moved. Just read a book. Even if you're not literate with money, just read a book. And that can be your starting point. Because with the way this economy's going, if you want to get out of this and prepare yourself for what's coming 2030 and beyond, you don't really have much of a choice.